What if I told you that the way we think about sex is more powerful than the act itself? That behind every touch, every desire, every silence, there is a hidden psychological truth shaping human behavior in ways most people never see. Today, you're about to discover shocking, eye-opening facts about sex and the human mind that will change the way you understand attraction, intimacy, and love forever. The truth is, sex does not begin with the body, it begins with the mind. The brain is the single most powerful sex organ, more influential than hormones, curves, or any physical touch. Before a single kiss is shared, the mind has already written the script of desire. Psychology tells us that up to 80% of sexual arousal comes from mental stimulation. Thoughts, imagination, anticipation, not physical contact. This is why someone can feel deeply attracted to a person without ever being touched, and why fantasies or memories can trigger stronger feelings than reality itself. What shocks many is that the body only responds to signals the brain approves. If the mind feels unsafe, disconnected, or distracted, the body shuts down its natural response, even in the most intimate situations. But when the mind feels desired, valued, and emotionally safe, the body reacts with overwhelming intensity. This is why words, eye contact, and emotional energy can ignite a fire stronger than anything physical. It also explains why attraction can sometimes feel unexplainable. The subconscious brain picks up on micro-expressions, pheromones, and subtle signals that you don't even consciously notice. That's why someone can walk into a room and instantly captivate you before they've said a single word. Understanding this changes everything. If you want to build deeper intimacy, don't just focus on the body, speak to the mind. Connection, trust, admiration, respect. These mental triggers unlock far greater desire than any physical move ever could. Because in the end, the brain doesn't just control pleasure, it defines it. We live in a world obsessed with performance. Men are told they must perform in the bedroom, that it's all about technique, stamina, and physical mastery. But here's the shocking truth: science and psychology prove that emotional connection, not performance, is the greatest key to satisfaction. Think about it. The body can only go so far. You can master every physical move, but if there is no emotional depth, the experience feels hollow. Pleasure becomes mechanical, empty, and short-lived. But when there is emotional connection, when two people feel deeply seen, valued, and cherished, that's when intimacy transforms into something unforgettable. The human brain releases oxytocin, often called the love hormone, during deep emotional bonding. This hormone doesn't just create closeness, it magnifies physical pleasure. In fact, studies show that people who feel emotionally connected during intimacy report higher levels of satisfaction, even if the physical act itself wasn't perfect. That means the heart, not the body, holds the real power. Have you ever wondered why a woman may not remember every physical detail of an encounter, but she will always remember how she felt during it? That's because emotion imprints itself on the nervous system in ways that touch alone cannot. If she feels desired, respected, and secure, her body responds in ways no performance technique can compete with. If she feels dismissed, undervalued, or disconnected, no amount of physical skill will compensate for that emptiness. Here's the psychological twist: when emotional intimacy is strong, it creates a feedback loop. Trust lowers stress. Lower stress increases dopamine and endorphins. These chemicals heighten arousal and physical pleasure, which deepens connection, which again enhances pleasure. It becomes a cycle of satisfaction fueled by emotion, not mechanics. This is why couples who invest in emotional connection through communication, vulnerability, and genuine care often report the most fulfilling intimacy even after years together, because passion without connection burns quickly. But passion with emotional grounding becomes a fire that never goes out. The truth that shocks most men is this: women don't crave a man who can just perform. They crave a man who can connect. They want presence, attention, and the kind of energy that says, "You are not just a body to me. You are my world in this moment." When that kind of emotional connection is present, the smallest touch feels electric. The simplest kiss feels profound, and the experience lingers not just in the body, but in the soul. So remember this: real satisfaction is not about performance. It's about presence. It's not about how much you can do, but how deeply you can make her feel. Because in the end, pleasure fades, but emotion lasts forever. Words are powerful, yes, but when it comes to attraction, they are not the real truth tellers. Psychology has proven again and again that more than 70% of human communication is nonverbal. That means the body is constantly speaking, even when the lips are silent. And here's what most people never realize when it comes to intimacy and attraction: the subconscious body language often shouts louder than words ever will. Think about it. A woman may say she's fine, but her body betrays the truth. Her eyes linger a little too long, her breathing quickens, her pupils dilate, or her body angles toward the person she desires. These tiny, almost invisible signals are the hidden language of attraction. They bypass logic, bypass control, and go straight into the realm of instinct. That's why you can sense when someone is into you even before they admit it. One of the most shocking psychological facts is this: our subconscious mind is constantly scanning for signs of safety, dominance, or chemistry, and our body reacts before we even know it. For example, studies show that when a person is attracted, they often mimic the other person's gestures without realizing it. If you lean in, they lean in. If you touch your face, they do too. This mirroring is the brain's way of building connection. It's a silent, "I'm with you." Another hidden truth is that eye contact is one of the most powerful weapons of desire. Prolonged eye contact triggers the release of dopamine, the pleasure chemical, and can create a surge of intimacy that words cannot match. That's why a single look, held just a second too long, can feel more seductive than any spoken compliment. But here's the twist. Body language doesn't just reveal attraction, it reveals disinterest too. A turned away torso, crossed arms, lack of touch, or distracted eyes all signal a lack of connection, even if the mouth is saying all the right things. This is why relationships crumble when partners stop paying attention to these subtle cues. Ignoring body language is like ignoring the truth right in front of you. What shocks many is that women, especially, are often more attuned to body language than men. They notice micro signals, tiny shifts in tone, posture, or eye movement that most men overlook. And in intimacy, this awareness becomes even sharper. She can feel whether your touch carries presence or distraction. She knows whether your kiss carries passion or routine. Here's the key: attraction is not performed, it is felt, and the body always tells on the heart. This is why the most powerful connections happen when your words and your body align, when your eyes, your tone, your energy all say the same thing. I desire you. I'm fully here. That kind of congruence doesn't just attract, it captivates. So if you want to understand attraction, don't just listen to words. Watch the body, because the body never lies. Here's a shocking truth that most people never talk about. When intimacy is absent for too long, the human brain reacts in ways eerily similar to drug withdrawal. That's right. Just like the body craves nicotine, sugar, or caffeine, the mind craves intimacy, closeness, and touch. And when it doesn't get it, the consequences are far more serious than most people realize. Science reveals that during intimacy, the brain releases a cocktail of chemicals: dopamine for pleasure, oxytocin for bonding, serotonin for happiness, and endorphins for stress relief. Together, these chemicals don't just create physical satisfaction, they create balance, calm, and emotional stability. But when intimacy is missing, the body is starved of these natural field chemicals. The result: anxiety, irritability, mood swings, and even depression. Symptoms almost identical to withdrawal from addictive substances. This is why people who go long stretches without intimacy often report feeling restless, disconnected, or unusually sad. It's not weakness, it's biology. The human nervous system is designed to thrive on closeness, touch, and emotional connection. Without it, stress hormones like cortisol rise, weakening the immune system and even impairing memory and focus. In fact, psychological studies show that people deprived of intimacy for long periods experience higher levels of loneliness and even physical pain. That's how deeply the brain links touch and survival. But here's where it gets even more shocking. This deprivation doesn't just affect the individual. It affects how they interact with others. People who are intimacy starved often become more irritable, less trusting, and emotionally guarded. Their relationships suffer, their patience decreases, and their ability to bond weakens. It's a silent, invisible wound that can destroy connection before anyone realizes what's happening. And yet, society rarely talks about it. We are quick to recognize hunger or thirst, but we ignore what could be called touch hunger. And make no mistake, touch hunger is real. Psychologists have found that humans need regular, safe, and loving touch to function at their best. Babies who are deprived of touch struggle to thrive, and adults who are deprived of intimacy suffer in silence. This is why intimacy should never be reduced to just a physical act. It's medicine for the brain, fuel for the heart, and stability for the soul. It's the reason two people can feel healed after a single night of closeness, or why a simple hug can sometimes ease pain more than words ever could. So the next time you think intimacy is just about pleasure, remember this, it's survival. Without it, the human mind begins to break down, just like an addict in withdrawal. That's how powerful intimacy truly is. And that's why protecting it, nurturing it, and valuing it is one of the greatest investments you can ever make in your life and in your relationship. Society has sold us a lie that confidence and intimacy comes from experience, from the number of partners you've had, or the techniques you've mastered. But here's the truth: psychology reveals real confidence is not about experience at all. It is about self-perception, the way you see yourself and the emotional presence you bring into the moment. Think about it. Two men can enter the same situation, one with years of so-called experience, but filled with insecurity and self-doubt, the other with very little experience, but grounded in self-belief and presence. Who do you think creates a deeper, more satisfying connection? Science says it's the second man, because confidence is not about quantity, it's about quality of energy. Studies in psychology show that sexual satisfaction is strongly linked to self-esteem and body image. When you believe you are desirable, when you carry yourself with assurance, your partner feels it. Attraction is contagious. Energy is contagious. A person who values themselves naturally communicates value to their partner. On the other hand, someone who doubts themselves will transmit hesitation, tension, and fear, and the body responds accordingly. That's why anxiety is one of the leading causes of intimacy struggles. It's not the body that fails, it's the mind that whispers, "You're not enough." Here's the shocking part: presence. Being fully in the moment is far more seductive than any technique. A partner can sense when your attention drifts, when your mind is elsewhere, when you are worried about performance rather than connection. Presence says, "I am here with you, right now, fully." And that alone creates an intensity no trick or move can replicate. True confidence is also rooted in vulnerability, the ability to be open, to communicate desires, to admit fears, to laugh, to connect without a mask. That is strength, because confidence is not pretending to be perfect. It is the courage to be real. And in intimacy, realness is magnetic. What most people don't know is that the brain responds to confidence like a signal of safety. When your partner feels your grounded energy, their nervous system relaxes. Stress hormones drop, pleasure hormones rise, and the body opens itself to deeper satisfaction. That's why self-perception is everything. When you see yourself as powerful, valuable, and worthy, your partner's body responds to that belief as if it were truth. Confidence, then, is not about what you do. It's about who you are. It's about how you carry yourself, how you breathe, how you look at your partner as if they are the most important person in the world. It's about knowing you don't have to prove anything. You just have to be fully present, fully alive, and fully authentic. So remember this: true sexual confidence isn't earned in the bedroom. It's built in the mind. It's not about experience. It's about self-perception. And when you embody that, you don't just create intimacy, you create unforgettable moments that linger long after the night is over. At the end of the day, intimacy is not just about sex. It's about psychology, emotion, and the unseen power of the human mind. If you understand the brain, if you master emotional connection, if you learn to be present and confident, you will not just attract women, you will captivate them. Because the truth is this: the greatest desire is not for the body, but for the man who knows how to reach the soul. So stop chasing performance. Stop doubting yourself. Start building emotional depth. Start valuing presence. And start becoming the kind of man who leaves not just a memory, but an imprint. Because real power is not in what you do. It's in how deeply you make her feel. If this opened your eyes, then it's time to take the next step. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone who needs to hear this truth. Drop a comment below. Tell me which psychological fact shocked you the most. And remember, every video here is designed to awaken you, inspire you, and give you the tools to build real love, real connection, and real confidence. Because intimacy is not an act, it's an art. And when you master the mind, the body will follow.